What's going on, guys? And welcome to another episode of Two Lost Conversations. I am Nyla Symone here with
I'm Japanese.
So you're a Filipino-American bedroom R&B artist?
So, sounds about right, yeah.
Well, what would you classify yourself?
I don't know, but I think every time I have to put in a genre for my music, I usually put like singer-songwriter type thing. So maybe something like that.
Okay, so you're not clinging on to R&B.
Not clinging, but I definitely play around with R&B as well. So I don't know. It's a mix of like a lot of different things.
Self-proclaimed hopeless romantic.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. No, your bio on Spotify is hilarious.
Oh God, I need to update that.
No, don't update it. So
I need to update that.
Why is it no longer true?
No, that's very true.
Songs about falling in love, being in love, and trying really hard to fall out of love.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's deep.
I think when I wrote that, I was like my friend was like, "Oh, you should have a bio that's not just like a smiley face." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll try to write something that feels like a little bit more put together." I've never really described my music at that point to anyone else, so it kind of like took a bit to think of words that I felt really represented it, but I feel like it's the best way to put it, and I think it rolls off the tongue pretty easily too.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely intrigued, especially how it ends, trying really hard to fall out of love.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the biggest part, I think.
That's the roller coaster.
Yeah.
That is the roller coaster. Okay, so you have an upcoming album.
That's correct.
What's it called?
Loki, I'm still thinking of the album name.
Okay.
I think initially I wanted to name it What I Want to Say, just because this album kind of represents like a me that I've never been able to truly express through my music. One, because it's kind of something that I've discovered recently, but two, also because I think up until recently, my discography has been a lot more filtered. As much as it might not seem so, it actually is quite filtered in the way that I write words. I've always felt a little bit limited actually in my vocabulary when I'm writing lyrics because of that like slight filter, I think, that I've had. And I kind of just wanted to get rid of that. And that's what this album represents. Just like the voice that I really want to have, like for my music, for my platform, just like for everything.
Where was the filter coming from? Was it like internally or like pressures from outside forces? Like, what would you say?
I think there was a time when I had less of a filter, especially in the beginning, right? When I didn't treat music as much as a career as I do now. I think back then I had a pretty true to myself type of discography. But I think as soon as I started trying to take it seriously, I started thinking, oh, like what lyrics actually fit me? What lyrics would people like? What kind of music in general would like other people like? Slowly, I started developing just like almost like a facade. And it's not like I didn't like the music that I was making, but I do know that it was harder to write music. It was slower, and it was definitely not as much me as it used to be. I think it took a while to actually recognize that was like a bad thing for me too. But
Unnecessary pressure.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. So what is like inspiring the freedom?
Well, part of it, like as I was saying earlier, is like when I moved out by myself, like I just wanted to just really explore like who I am, like on my own, right? So living in a studio for like by myself for a year has really changed how I view like myself, how I view like life, and how I view how I want to treat the rest of my life and my career. Just because I think I was able to get back in touch with who I am and like what I want.
That's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to play it off as like, oh, you have to live alone to experience that. I mean, I think it's just for me, it happened that way, right?
Yeah.
Like I really wanted to try living alone, and I ended up discovering that. So, sorry, what was the question?
And honestly, that's not a bad thing. Like I feel like a lot of people should experience it at least once in your life.
Yeah.
Because you do learn a lot about yourself.
You definitely do. You definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does your songwriting process typically look like?
So, I think how I usually go about things is I would have melodies. I'm a very big melody person. I know some people are like chords, some people are like lyrics and just ideas. For me, I would sit down, or actually no, I wouldn't even sit down. Most of the time I would be going like through my day-to-day and just have like melodies that like I'm humming, and I would end up collecting a bunch of them on my phone, like in voice memos, right? So I have a shit ton of like these melodies that I haven't done anything with, and I know I want to do something with it. So when I do finally decide, okay, I want to write music right now, I would go back to those voice memos and just like look at the melodies that sometimes I favorite the ones that I really like, But in general, I just like will go through like all of the ones that I have, like thousands, literally. Sometimes like I'll just like really, really like a melody, and I'm like free. I'm not doing anything. I'm like, okay, I'll just go write on this melody. So that's how it usually starts. It goes melody, and then for me, melodies always have like a feeling, right? Like I think some people say chords give the same thing, but for me, it's like really melodies. Every melody has like a different kind of like vibe, a feeling, and if I just take a melody from my voice memos and I just like play it, immediately I have an idea of like the kind of song I want to write, whether it's more about like more happy, more sad, yeah, more about like an actual breakup type thing, or more so about like feelings from like an anecdote in my life. It's usually pretty apparent to me from like when I actually hear the melody again, and then the lyrics just flow. Sometimes they don't flow as well, but at the very least, I think I always know what I want to write about after I hear the melody again. So,
but it comes after, not at the same time.
Yeah.
Melody, then after you hear it back, then lyrics.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Your cover songs. How do you choose them, and what are your favorites?
So cover songs, I mean, I used to have like a system because I thought, oh, okay, maybe for social media, I should actually have like an actual goal and system for like making content rather than just doing whatever. So what I used to do, which I'm still sort of trying to apply to like how I do content, is like I want to choose like a few songs that I listened to recently that I actually really like, and I think like I could give my own like rendition of my own like take on it that would actually sound like good, because I think some songs it's really hard for me to turn into like an acoustic cover. But yeah, so I would just like take a listen to like a few of the more recent songs. In general too, I think it's very valuable as an artist to listen to like what's going on the radio right now, and I tend to forget about that a lot actually. So I think like by adding that into my like cover making process, it's like pretty good for me as a artist and producer. So yeah, so that's part of it. Also, all the time, like you just hear like random songs in a cafe, right? And like sometimes like I would just hear it and be like, okay, I need to cover this. So I'd write it down and then make sure that I have it in my notes to cover this at some point. There's that. Also, I know that I should cover my own songs, so I kind of cover that as well.
Good idea.
Yeah. As well as just like if I want to support certain artists, like I've covered some of my friends' songs before too. That's basically how I'd say I choose.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did you start producing first before songwriting, or like what came to you naturally?
Definitely the songwriting. Yeah. In fact, I wouldn't say I produced really until maybe the second year of making music. Yeah. Everything until then was literally just my guitar and my voice, like a 2-track literally. And it's only like after around a year that I was like, oh, I think I kind of want more sounds on my songs. And that's when I started trying to learn how to produce, also trying to learn how to mix and master at that time as well. Just like a lot, but yeah.
Are you into it?
Not the mixing and mastering. Not the mixing and mastering.
Too tedious.
It's too tedious. I know there is a creative aspect to it, but to me it just feels like, oh, if you're not like mixing a certain way, it just doesn't fit in. And I hate that. So I'd rather focus on the things where I could really let my creativity shine, and that for me is like definitely the writing and producing part.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
How would you say you connect with your fans?
So I think the biggest thing for me right now is my Discord, which I have actually been pretty inactive, but I try to chime in as much as I can. They have like voice calls that I try to like chime into when I can, but it's honestly really hard, especially recently. It's been so busy with like moving as well, but just focusing on music and focusing on managing like my life has just been a lot in the past year. Yeah, but other than that, I try to respond to actually like every single DM and every single like comment that I get. It's like the most I can do as someone that's not actually like talking to someone live, right? It's definitely like, because I do love like connecting with them, and it's actually been like one of the saddest things for me to not have been able to talk to like my Discord in the longest time.
Yeah.
So at the very least, I think like I want to respond to the people that reach out. So.
Yeah. Give them grace, okay? He's moving, like him lifing.
I'm working on it. I'm getting back to it.
What inspires your music and visuals?
So music is definitely inspired by just past experiences. And I think something that I've been realizing too is how much I like movies, books, stories, right? I just love that. I think every time I see a movie that has a very like satisfying end, or just a nice way to tell a story, it's just so inspiring. And so I think what I wanted to do, at least recently, is to be able to tell stories like in the form of music. And that's also part of like my whole album concept as well. Just being able to do that, tell stories. So I think the best way to put it is I'm inspired by like people's stories, people's lives, not just mine and anyone's lives, and the stories or the way that people choose to portray those like experiences in lives, whether it be movies and books and like random like videos that I see on YouTube. It's all very inspiring, right? Visually, I think recently I've been trying to adapt like this concept of having very handwritten, or sorry, not handwritten, like hand drawn like album covers, just because I wanted to like remember the initial title that I had for the album concept was like what I want to say, right? So I wanted to be really true to like what I also want to show like in the album cover, but I can't draw for shit. So I've never actually tried to do my own album covers like hand drawn, just because I know I can't draw like any better than like stick figures.
That would make for great art.
I don't know. Maybe I'll try it someday. It's pretty bad. It's really bad. But I recently realized that like just because I can't draw, it doesn't mean my album covers can't be drawn. I just have to find like someone I trust.
True.
Right. And the person I've been working with recently has really brought like my visions to a better life than I could have. Yeah. So.
Well, we love that for you. That you found somebody. Was there a breakthrough moment when you started to take your music career more seriously?
So the very first time that I experienced something like that, I think I experienced it multiple times, but the very first time was when I actually started making TikToks. At that point, I wasn't trying to do music as like a full-on career, but I had like this deal with my dad at the time because I was still in college, and my deal was that, okay, if I can figure out music, or if I can find proof that music could go somewhere within like a year at that time, then I'm just gonna go full on and try to do it. But at that time, I was trying to get like a bachelor's in psychology. But yeah, so I started doing TikTok, and actually almost immediately I found a lot of success, not in terms of like blowing up, but in terms of, oh, I'm reaching like a lot of new people who are saying that they really like my music, who are saying that they want me to release more, or they want me to release those songs that I'm singing like on Spotify. And it started making me feel like, oh, there are people that connect with my music. It's not just in my head, right? It's not just something that I love. It's something that other people love as well. And that is like a really precious feeling, right? For other people to say that they really connect with your music, that your music makes them feel either affirmed or like even make them feel sad. Like that's like oh, you're affecting people, right? Yeah. It's not just like some random noise. It actually like does something. That's a crazy feeling to have. And when I first like felt that from, I think there's a TikTok that only had like 50K views. That was in like 2020, I believe, 21. Yeah, 2021. It don't have 50K views, but it was like, wow, I'm actually like doing something. Like that's not just for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, I think I want to try a little bit more to release a little bit more music. And I started grinding a little harder, trying to like make different kinds of music, not just like acoustic stuff. And I think that was the first moment, I'd say.
That is beautiful. I love that. I love that you know it's bigger than you.
Yeah, for sure.
Your experience as an independent artist so far has been...
I think hard is the best way to put it.
Okay.
I think it's very hard because I have a lot of friends. Well, basically, I don't have any friends really in the city that are artists. So the people I mingle with, you know, they have 9-to-5s or they're working in the service industry. They're just basically working like, you know, outside of their rooms, right? Whereas I am just in my room trying to do everything by myself. And sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe that could have been me as well. Or maybe like they also have things that they would want to create too, but they're either being more responsible, they're thinking about their future more, stuff like that.
Not more responsible.
I know.
I'll say more responsible.
That's just what it makes me feel, right? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. But I think because of that, you know, it tends to put things into perspective for me as someone that doesn't really know where things will go, right? You just can't predict anything.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's very like stressful, especially as you get older, right? So I think that's very hard. But at the same time, I think it's been the most fun years of my life ever. I think ever since music was a thing to me, I've just been a lot happier. I've been a lot more satisfied with like the things I do on a day-to-day basis. And I think it just feels, as hard as it is, like the right thing to do for me. And I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm just going to keep trying until, I don't know, just keep trying, I guess.
It's going somewhere.
It's gotta go somewhere, yeah.
That freedom is priceless.
Yeah,
That's what you have, freedom.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Can you tell us the story behind your favorite cover art?
My favorite cover art is probably the one for my You album, YOU. That's like me standing with like a white umbrella with like roses like falling all around me. I think I think that's my most favorite cover art because at that time I was pretty scared to do like a lot of cover arts that I was in, right? I was kind of trying to do things that didn't really have me just because maybe it would be more artistic, maybe it would play more to like the songs rather than like have a really strong visual aspect to it. Even up until that time, like even though I hadn't done any of those like more visual album arts, I had a lot of ideas that I just kind of decided not to really do anything with. And it was the first time that I actually tried to put like my vision to the test, like try to make like an actual album cover with a vision that I had. And as cheesy as it was, like in my little sketch that I drew beforehand, I think it actually ended up being exactly like what I wanted with the help of like one of my friends. Actually, it was a lot more visually talented than I am. It was an album cover that I did all by myself, like at the beach. There's like roses falling around me, right? And so what I would do is I would set my camera on the tripod on a timer, and then I would throw the roses like last minute, and I would stand like in position with the umbrella, hopefully getting a good shot, which I really didn't for like 100 takes. And at the end of the day, I took a look at all the footage or all the pictures that I did take, and I realized like they were all shit. And I gave it to my friend Yuki to try doing something with it. I didn't even think of the fact that I could just edit in the roses later. So he kind of edited out all the roses that I threw and just added like an overlay on it.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it ended up being like perfect. But yeah, I think it was my favorite album cover because of the vision, but also because it was a really cool experience for me to do at Santa Monica Beach that night. So yeah.
That's a process.
Yeah, it was quite a process.
The timer on the beach is hilarious.
Yeah.
Was the wind blowing at all? I know it gets cold.
Yeah, it gets cold. It gets windy. It was really bad.
You should post those bloopers.
The bad ones?
Yes.
I probably should. Maybe sometime.
Okay, this is a quick Q&A from the fans.
Okay, sure.
The people want to know.
Okay.
What's his type?
My type?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think for the longest time, my type has been nice girls. I think when people say like pretty, sexy, cute, it's always been pretty for me. And I think in general, I'm drawn to people who aren't like super loud, but they're also very like, they want to be like helpful to everyone. They want to be a good influence on everyone and try to help everyone in their own quiet ways. That's the kind of person that I'm into, I'd say.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been playing the guitar?
I've been playing the guitar since, I think, 2016. But the thing is, like, when I first picked up the guitar, because before the guitar, I didn't play any instruments other than, like a semester of not clarinet. I don't even know. Oh, yeah, it was clarinet. I played a semester of clarinet, and then I tried piano lessons for a month, and it didn't work out. So I thought instruments were just not for me. I picked up my first guitar in, 2016. I played it for a bit, and I also, didn't really touch it after. So, technically, I've been playing since 2016, but okay. I think I actually started trying to get better at it, at least a little bit more better at it. I'm not even that good at guitar, to be honest. But I tried to get to a point where I could cover the songs I like covering, maybe around 2018, 2017, like halfway through 2017. And the skills I learned in that time is honestly like the same skills I have right now. But it's just, adding songs over it, adding lyrics over it really elevates how it sounds.
For sure.
Yeah.
Most underrated song you have?
Most underrated song. That might take me a bit, to be honest. I think my most underrated song is probably this song called Am I the Only One? It's on my You album, and it's the whole idea was that I wanted to make a anime J-rock type song that was completely different from any other song that I've ever wrote. So I learned how to do electric guitars, like rock electric guitars for the first time. I learned how to program drums for the first time.
Nice.
And I think it actually, like, other than the mix and master, I think the production sounded really, really good. And I think it was like one of the first times where I felt like, oh, I'm actually like not that bad at producing. I feel like I could get better at this if I just kept trying. So yeah, I'd say probably Am I the Only One.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's the story behind Time Machine?
So the story behind Time Machine, man.
He's like, I don't want to share this.
No. It's not. It's actually not that bad.
Okay.
It's more so like, I don't even know where to start, because I think the story behind Time Machine, weirdly enough, is something that's much more about what was after Time Machine rather than before it, if that makes sense. Because the actual song really wasn't about that much. It at the time I was getting over a relationship basically, and I didn't even write many specific things into that song like about a relationship. It was just like I was just really fucking sad, right? So I just wanted to write like those feelings into a song.
Yeah.
And Time Machine came out. I mean, I don't really have that many like interesting things to say about it, but it was more so, and what I mean by what came after is like how people received it, because Time Machine was also on the first EP that I ever released. That was the same EP that my friend Yuki was kind of like, oh, you should just like write an EP for fun, right? That's when I first started making music. And I didn't think that it was like anything, right? It was, if anything, it was just kind of almost like an audio journal, that EP for me. And it just didn't blow up, but the amount of people that like reached out to me, like saying like how that song makes them feel, how like it affects them, how they really love it, how like they can't stop listening to it, was just so mind-blowing, right? To me, as someone that just released music for the first time, didn't think that anyone would really listen to my music at all. And it was just a life-changing experience for me. It was definitely one of those other breakthrough moments for me, like probably the first one, honestly. But it didn't like lead directly into music. It was just like it was actually more so about like me as a person, right? Because at that time I was definitely a lot more insecure about myself. I was a lot more like, I don't really know like what I like. And I think people telling me that they liked my music made me just start thinking, oh, like maybe there is like a purpose for me, a purpose for like something more than just going through the motions. But yeah, there really wasn't that much of the story. I was just sad. I was just sad and I wrote a song. Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one is...
Sure.
Oh, are you single?
I'm not single. I'm not single.
Okay, there was like 10 questions that
Oh,
asked
shit.
You're disappointing a lot of girls right now. Don't worry, you know.
I mean...
But that means we'll be getting a lot of love songs, right?
A lot of love songs, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's my favorite type of song, so...
Well, we're looking forward to it. Do you know when the project is going to be dropping?
The full album is dropping September this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So September we'll be on the lookout.
Yep.
All right. Well, shout out to your gram. Let everybody know where they can follow you if they don't already.
Well, my Instagram is MJ You can find me anywhere at MJ TikTok, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever. I hope you guys check out my music, and thank you for watching the interview.